for a matchup between two of the more historic programs in all of college baseball. It's the USC Trojans against the number 4 third start of the year for USC. Been one of the best pitchers in the Pac-12 during his time for the Trojans. Take a look at some of the Vanderbilt lineup right here. Vanderbilt.
And the Commodores have Jacob Humphrey in that 8th spot. He's on a little bit of a hitting streak. Look for him to make an impact at the bottom of the order.
Some USC defense right here. Same defense as they rolled out last night as well. Covarrubias down, making a nice highlight play as well. RJ Austin swinging first pitch. And flies one out to center fielder Dowd for out number 1 to begin the ball game.
1 pitch, 1 out for Caden Aoki. That's really the start you wanted, especially against this potent Vanderbilt offense. It was a well-hit ball there into center field, but found the glove of Braden Dowd.
Here's Rustin Rigdon, a great freshman for Vanderbilt, and they have tons of them. First pitch on the way. Fastball inside for strike 1. Rustin also goes by the nickname Rooster. Why not? Sounds so similar. Been exceptional. .345 average to begin the year for Vanderbilt. Coming from Metter High School in Georgia. And just misses from Aoki.
And starting his freshman campaign, he's reached base in all of Vanderbilt's first 10 games.
Yeah, last true freshman to do that was Enrique Bradfield Jr. back in 2021. 1-1. Off-speed offering from Aoki just misses again. 2-1. Of course, Bradfield Jr. was a great leadoff hitter for Vanderbilt. Had so much speed, and he was drafted the first round by the Baltimore Orioles. 2-1 as Aoki begins the windup. Swing and a miss there from Rigdon. Now 2-2.
Now a little bit of a different at-bat, obviously. The first batter, RJ Austin, 1 pitch, 1 out for Aoki. Now a little bit of a duel here with this 2-2 count. Let's see which pitch he goes to next.
2-2. Trying for that breaking ball down the dirt. Trying to fetch a swing, but Rigdon stays 3-2.
Now on that 2-1 pitch, he went with a pitch up high. 2-2 pitch went down low. Wasn't able to fool Rigdon.
Payoff pitch on the way. Rigdon rolls one over. Takes a big hop, and Covarrubias is able to field it cleanly for round number 2. And I don't know if you saw that, Thomas, on that ground ball from Rigdon, but hit the lip of the grass right before the infield turn. Covarrubias had to make the adjustment.
Yeah, good grab from him. A little bit of a high hop, but luckily it wasn't moving too quickly, and Covarrubias was able to gobble it up.
And now here comes the first baseman for the Commodores, Riley Nelson, in the 3 spot. First pitch to him. Fastball away, painted for strike 1.
Now, obviously, this first inning isn't over, but the Commodores scored 4 runs against UCLA in the first frame yesterday. Really good start for Aoki so far, but Vanderbilt, even with 2 outs, can do some damage.
A 1 pitch on the way. High chopper. Dean Carpentier is there to record the 3rd out of the inning, and a 1-2-3 inning for Caden Aoki to start this game against a hot Vanderbilt Commodores lineup. And now USC will look to keep their offensive momentum rolling as we head into the bottom of the first. We're still scoreless here in Irvine. Don't go anywhere on Big Ten Plus. Speaking Ethan McIlvain, the left-hander on mound for Vanderbilt. And here's who he'll face for USC. Braden Dowd leading things off. Bryce Martin, Grudzalonic banging the 2-hole. This is really the same lineup from last night, but that bottom half of the lineup really produced for USC, and that's a great sign for Andy Stankiewicz.
Yeah, as long as you can have production from top to bottom, it really opens up so much for your offense. You're not wasting outs with those 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters.
Let's take a look at the Vanderbilt defense. Of course, no changes in the field for Vanderbilt from last night's game, just in the DH spot. But RJ Austin roaming center field, he is one of the greatest defenders in college baseball right now, and watch for him to make some marquee plays out there in the outfield. But again, a lot of versatility on this Vanderbilt defense. A lot of different players can play different positions. Rustin Rigdon, of course, he can play the infield, but playing left field today. Mike Mancini also moving around to accommodate Brody Johnson at 3rd base. And Braden Dowd will now lead off the game against Ethan McIlvain, lefty-on-lefty matchup.
I think that's going to be an important thing to look at, is the lefty-on-lefty matchup. Of course, USC sending Out a lefty to lead off. See how many times McIlvaine gets through the order, how many times he'll face Braden Dowd.
Yeah, only 2 lefties in this USC lineup, and it's the leadoff hitter Dowd and the cleanup hitter in Higgins. McIlvaine making his 3rd start of the year for Vanderbilt. Begins his lineup. First pitch on the way to Dowd. High at the letters, called for strike 1. Now going back to McIlvaine's previous 2 starts against Nebraska and St. Mary's, allowing 4 earned runs in both of those starts. Went 3 innings against St. Mary's last time on the 22nd. And only 2 2/3 against Nebraska. Dowd just pokes one out to left field. Going back is Rigdon. Calls in, makes the catch for out number 1.
Pretty similar start for the Trojans as the Commodores had a fly out to the outfield. See if this turns into a little bit of a pitcher's duel early on.
Now here's Bryce Martin Grudzalonic. Redshirt junior shortstop. Now digging in for the first time today.
And I think he could be the X factor for the Trojans today. He's a redshirt junior hitting .306 this season. Dealt with injuries last year and turned down a draft spot by the Blue Jays in the 20th round to come back to USC.
Yeah, definitely a little bit something to prove for Bryce. Wanting a fully healthy season, able to get drafted higher, potentially in the 2025 MLB draft. 1-0 pitch on the way from McIlvaine. Another high pitch, this time just misses away, 2-0. Going back to some more notes on McIlvaine, he had a great summer in the Cape Cod League, and he also pitched for the Team USA Collegiate team. Swing and a miss there from Martin Grudzalonic, 2-1.
Yeah, good first strike for McIlvaine, who in 5 2/3 innings pitched this year, 6 walks. So gives over a walk an inning.
2-1 pitch on the way to Martin Grudzalonic. Another swing and a miss, 2-2. And yeah, going back to last year for McIlvaine, had 15 walks and 25 innings, so definitely a higher rate this year. Just trying to figure out the control, but right now, looks like he's got that control down. 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Down goes Martin Grudzalonic for the first strikeout of the game for McIlvaine.
Yeah, 3 straight strikes after going down 2-0. And even though he had those 15 walks last year, he had 29 punch-outs in 25 innings, so more than a punch-out an inning. And that trend has continued into this year. That was his 11th strikeout on the season.
Yeah, it was excellent, mostly out of the bullpen for Vanderbilt last year. Made 11 appearances in 4 starts with a 3.24 ERA. And now he's facing not just one of the hottest hitters in the USC lineup, but in the whole country, in Ethan Hedges. First pitch on the way to the third baseman. High at the letters, called for strike 1. Well, Hedges on the year so far, he's batting .444 with 4 home runs. And he's up there in a lot of the NCAA leaderboards and, of course, the Big Ten. 0-1. Hedges fouls one off. Make that 0-2.
And USC obviously would really like to avoid a 1-2-3 inning against such a top team. Fast starts, especially at home, are so important for an upset bid. It's looking like USC will go down 1-2-3.
McIlvaine beginning the windup. 0-2. Hedges lines one out to left field, and this will drop down the line. Rigdon rounds it. Throw a second. Not in time. Ethan Hedges continuing this first inning for USC. A double. There's another base hit for him.
And I guess that's what I get for doubting Ethan Hedges. Came into this one hitting .444. That's his second double of the season. Now up to 8 extra base hits on the year. It was an 0-2 pitch that he just stayed with, sent it down the left field line.
Well, it's interesting, too, because McIlvaine was kind of working Hedges away to begin the at-bat. This time came inside, and Hedges was able to catch up with the fastball and turn his hands on it. First pitch to Cade Higgins in the dirt. Good block from the catcher, Barcy. 1-0. Higgins as well has been excellent for the Trojans, coming over as a grad transfer from UNLV. Spent the last 2 seasons there. Spent his first 2 years at Arizona State. 1-0. Outside. Higgins lays off 2-0.
And now we're getting to see what McIlvaine does with runners on. Has to pay attention to Hedges at second base. Throws 2 straight balls, but we saw him come back from a similar count against Bryce Martin Grudzlana, getting the strikeout.
2-0 pitch. Higgins swings and misses, 2-1. Yeah, and considering Hedges, he stole 2 bags yesterday as well in that win against UConn. So always got to watch out for that sneaky speed. Has 3 on the year. 2-1. Fastball at the knees. Gets the zone, 2-2.
Yeah, I think that speed will definitely be important when it comes to a single. Don't expect Hedges to steal third here. You never want to get the third out at third base, especially when you have a speedy runner at second and a single can score.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Higgins, and McIlvaine with his second strikeout of the inning to retire the Trojans. So the USC Trojans do get their first hit of the game on a double from Ethan Hedges, but Higgins strands him, and now we're heading into the second from third baseman Brody Johnson. Excellent game against UCLA last night as he first pitch lined over the head of Hedges, down the line, and Basir puts his hands up. It looks like it got caught underneath the fence, so that's going to be a double for Brody Johnson to lead off the inning for Vanderbilt.
And a key for USC was to limit the extra base hits, and you especially don't want one to start off an inning. A leadoff double for Johnson can be dangerous, especially with a good chunk of hitters coming up.
Yeah, Johnson had a home run in a triple last night against UCLA. Now having a double here against USC. Now here comes Colin Barcy, the catcher for Vanderbilt. First pitch on the way to him. Off-speed pitch at the knees, but doesn't catch the zone. 1-0. Barcy's a sophomore from Naperville, Illinois. Last season for Vanderbilt, played in 29 games, at 208 in that stretch. Swing and a miss there from Barcy. One now on the catcher. Fastball low, missing, 2-1. Last year for Colin Barcy, he had his first ever collegiate home run in a win over the number 1 ranked team at that time in the Tennessee Volunteers in the SEC tournament. And Tennessee, of course, later went on to win the College World Series last year. Coming up big for Vanderbilt. Fastball low and away again from Aoki, 3-1.
Just like we were talking with McIlvaine, now we're getting to see Aoki with runners on, how he's dealing with it. Up to a 3-1 count. Not looking too good so far. We saw McIlvaine come back from deficits in counts. Let's see if Aoki can do it here.
3-1 pitch on the way. Off-speed almost, and it does hit him, actually. Barcy trying to turn away from that one, and it hits him right in the elbow guard. So a hit by pitch for Barcy, and he's on. Runners on first and second for Vanderbilt with no outs. Now here comes Jaden Davis, did not play in the game yesterday for Vanderbilt. It was the only game he's missed so far in the year. He's going to show bunt. Hedges, the third baseman for USC, is on the grass. Now he pulls that bunt back, ready to swing away. Aoki spins, throws a second, and Johnson in there standing.
We saw Hedges, even though Davis pulled the bunt back, Hedges still creeping in on that infield grass.
Carpentier, the first baseman, playing far away from the bag as well. Just a half step behind the grass. First pitch. Curveball dropped in there from Aoki. 1-1. That off-speed pitches for Aoki is going to be kind of his go-to, as fastball kind of sits low 90s, high 80s in that kind of range, and his off-speed offerings are what is so wicked about his arsenal. Spins, throws back to second base. This time Johnson in there sliding. And USC have gone a couple pickoffs over at second base so far this year. They utilize that so well in their weekend series against Rice last weekend. I'm sure Vanderbilt had their eye on that as well. Another throw over there. Covarrubias a little bit late trying to get back to the bag. So Aoki keeping Johnson honest. No stolen bases on the year for him. He's only played in 5 games. This is 6th. 0-1 to Bartzy. Grounds to Hedges. Hedges tosses to second base. Covarrubias makes the grab on the first for a double play. 5-4-3. And that's a clutch at bat from Kane Aoki, but Johnson moves over to third.
Yeah, and you worry when a batter squares up to bunt. Hedges was pulled in at the hot corner. And even though it was well hit, it was hit with some velocity. Hedges able to handle it, get it over to second for the first out, and then the good turn to get it to Carpentier for the second.
Here's Mike Mancini, the second baseman for Vanderbilt. Swings over the top of that off-speed pitch. 0-1. Mancini, a transfer from James Madison, where he was excellent for them last season. Sunbelt All-Tournament team, hit 15 home runs, letting for a .329 average. Again, swings over the top on that slider there from Aoki, 0-2.
And this is where the experience of Caden Aoki really comes into play. Had 2 runners on, but showing the poise of a senior. Trying to get out of this jam.
In the dirt. Mancini lays off 1-2. See there, Thomas Aoki trying to get Mancini to swing on an even lower pitch. He's been just going down the ladder on him this whole at-bat.
Well, the problem with Vanderbilt is the Commodores have such a potent lineup. I mean, their 7-hitter is hitting 400. Again, a small sample size, but still.
1-2. Swing and a miss. Aoki gets Mancini swinging to end the top of the second inning, and they strand Johnson at third base. Big-time inning for Ken Aoki to work himself out of a jam. And USC will now come to bat here in the bottom. Wilson get drafted so high in the MLB draft, and now he'll look to do the same here, developing some talent at USC. 1-0 on Dean Carpentier, the first baseman.
And you just feel a difference with Andy Stankiewicz at the helm.
Carpentier fouls one off towards the right side. Riley Nelson just staring that one down out of play. Can't make a attempt at that one. It's now 1-1. Inside on Carpentier, lays off. An off-speed pitch had some late break to it. Now it's 1-1. High and away from Carpentier. 2-1. McElvain, lefty, working from that right side of the rubber. You know, with a tailing pitch, he can maybe put it away and it'll fool some right-handed batters. High and away fastball, and Carpentier works the walk.
Well, the Trojans get the leadoff runner on. They did get a base runner by way of the double in the first inning, but that was with 2 outs. Let's see if USC can utilize that leadoff batter getting on.
Well, here comes the designated hitter, Adrian Lopez, to face McElvain. Carpentier on first base after the walk. Infield shaded for double play depth. Inside on Lopez, ball 1. Well, Adrian Lopez, heading into the game yesterday against UConn, was a little bit of a drought. Hitless in his 4 games, and then yesterday broke out in a big way, had 2 doubles. Big-time slugger, 6'4", 210. 1-0. Lopez fouls it to the backstop. 1-1. Lopez also showcases power ability in that second game of the season for USC against George Washington. Hitting a grand slam in the first inning really set the tone for them. It was a barrage of first inning runs in that first ever series for USC. Swing and a miss there from Lopez. Over the top of that curveball from McIlvain. 1-2. McIlvain as well as big body on the mound. 6'4", 238. Sophomore from Thompson Station, Tennessee. McIlvain pauses, looks over again. 1-2. Ball in the dirt. Good block from Barcy. Carpentier doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, Carpentier doesn't have the most speed in the world. 1 stolen base this year, 2 last year. That just did not get far enough away from Barcy for him to try to take that extra base.
Barcy, an excellent defensive catcher behind the plate for Vanderbilt. Rocking that split color chest gear. Another block there from him. Count now full on Lopez. And flashing back to that George Washington Grand Slam. He had a Grand Slam on a full count. He worked himself a nice battle, was able to get a hanging pitch and add his letters and able to drive it out to left field. Carpentier on first base. They're going to check over it. Leaning towards second just a little bit. Surely not going, though, with no outs. McIlvain delivers. 3-2. Lopez pokes one to the right side, and it's foul. Just foul indeed. That could have been a big hit for USC early on in this ballgame.
No matter how this at-bat ends for Adrian Lopez, still really good piece of work. And only in the second inning, McIlvain has 28 pitches. You want to drive the pitch count up of the starting pitcher as much as you can in the early innings. The arm gets fatigued a little bit quicker. Then it'd be a bullpen game. So good piece of work by Lopez so far.
McIlvain stepping over and tossing. Carpentier in there standing. And this is what Adrian Lopez can do. Hasn't hit for high average in his collegiate career so far, but he can work the count and give you a nice battle. 3-2. Lopez on the ground. Fielded by a shortstop, Vastine. Throw over to second base for 1. Not in time for the double play. Mike Mancini trying to turn 2. Not able to do it.
Just not hit hard enough to Vastine at shortstop. As Adrian Lopez, he had 13 stolen bases last year at Long Beach State, so he has a good piece of speed. Vastine going to his right. Lopez able to beat it out.
Yeah, nothing really Vanderbilt can do there. It's hit pretty softly deep into the hole, and Vastine made a nice turn over to second base to Mancini to get the first out. Here's Jack Basir. Watches a fastball away for ball 1. Basir yesterday hit a home run, his first ever USC home run. And what was it, a solid day for the bottom of the Trojans' order. Swing and a miss there. Nice pitch there from McIlvain, falling off the table, 1-1. That home run yesterday, Basir has now 7 total collegiate home runs in his junior year. Fouls one off. Out of play, hitting the net and coming back. For Jack Basir, he had 5 home runs his freshman year at Pepperdine, what was an all-WCC year for him, 345. Then transferred to TCU, hit 1 home run for the Horned Frogs last year and only hit 239. And now he's transferring back to West Coast and making most of the opportunity given to him. Not the opening day starting left fielder. He's been thriving right now for the Trojans. Swing and a miss. McIlvain raises Basir's sights, and he gets his 3rd strikeout of the game.
He caught Basir chasing there at a pitch really up high, which was different from what USC did yesterday.
Yeah, going back to that bottom of the lineup for the Trojans, Basir, Covarrubias, and Elliott all went 2 for 4, and they all homered. Covarrubias' home run was an inside-the-park home run. Hit to right center field, 400 feet off the bat. So he watches that pitch high. I think that was a little bit of an off-speed from McIlvain, just didn't get the full grip on it. Now, the home run yesterday for Covarrubias was his first ever home run in a USC uniform as a collegiate player. Last year as a freshman, hit none. 1-0. High and away fastball, 2-0.
And Covarrubias last year played in 49 games with 45 starts. He only hit .232, only 5 extra base hits, but that experience has really helped him. Now hitting .313 early on in the season.
McIlvain checking it back on Lopez at first base. That was the first back pick to Lopez, who has much more speed, like you mentioned, Thomas, and Carpentier.
Base on the year, but again, 13 last year with the Dirtbags.
McIlvain looking over, delivers 2-0. Fastball inside for strike one. Mentioned how that inside the park home run from Covarrubias, 400 feet. That went further than any of the other 2 home runs that USC had over the fence. Went 103 off the bat. Also scored 2 runs yesterday. 2-1. Covarrubias late on that fastball. It's now 2-2.
It almost seems like McIlvain loves the 2-0 count. He had 2 strikeouts in the first inning, both coming off of 2-0 counts where he came back to get the punch out, and he's doing it again here, evening it up at 2-2.
Covarrubias hits one on the ground near the USC dugout. Fouled off. Count remains even. Look at all those fans, too, at the Great Park today. I'm sure this is going to be one of the highest attended games for USC this year at the Irvine Great Park, their temporary home field, as Dado is getting reconstructed. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Covarrubias, and just like how he ended the first, McIlvain ends it with a strikeout. 4 on the game for him so far. Only allowing a hit and a walk, and he's been excellent for the Commodores in what's been a bounce-back start for him so far.